All right, hello, let's try this again. I think my microphone is working now. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but ended up having to reboot to get my microphone to work. So the I'll say infamous piece of troubleshooting device or advice, have you tried turning it off and on again? So that worked for me. So now I have a microphone. I assume you can hear me in the chat now. Woohoo, yay, hi Dave, yeah. Okay, I'll take that as confirmation that you can hear what I'm saying. And I actually see that the microphone is picking up volume now, so that's a good sign as well. Good morning, hello, hi. Good morning to you as well. An emoji, raising hand emoji from Kyle. Hi Mike, I mean Dave, hello. Hi Dave, how's tricks? Not sure what you mean by that. Good morning. Hello Eileen. All right, well, with that technical hiccup beside us now, where was it? We'll start Feedback Friday then. So I wanted to start with a quick announcement about the Halloween event. In case you have not seen it on the Facebook wall and in the ticker, the Halloween event will come to an end next Tuesday. That is November 7. Probably about the same time Feedback Friday usually starts. That's when the event will end on Tuesday. So you can kind of think of Monday as the final day of the event, and it will actually shut down on Tuesday. When the event ends, you'll be able to claim a reward for any partially defeated ghost ships, and the reward will scale with the percentage of damage that you have inflicted to the ship. So the more damage you've done to a ship, the more rewards you'll be able to claim. The rewards will include what you normally get for shooting down a ship: cursed gold, spooky shuffle tickets, haunted ultimate luck charms, and some of the area-specific items as well. But again, the more damage you do, the larger reward you'll get. If it's almost shot down, you'll pretty well get everything, but you might be missing a little bit of the cursed gold. The rounding, it rounds up, but if it's not at least one, then it just zeroes it out. So if you were going to get one windy potion, you'd have to do so much damage before you get one potion. Otherwise, you won't get the area-specific reward. But that's it, because the cursed gold, the quantities are rather large. That will scale nicely. We'll be able to see that. Nice. That's awesome in the chat. Good to hear. That should be a pretty good solution. If you've almost finished a ship and the event comes to an end, you should get pretty well all the rewards, minus the aura though. So there's still incentive to make sure you finish off the ships during the event, because that will determine the aura time. Jason says he has to push really hard to use all the cannonballs, waited a bit too long to start using them. I kind of did the same a little bit. I was stockpiling maybe a little bit too long, and then I had a couple hundred and I wanted to get going, but I found myself making sure to sound my horn a little more than usual to use up all my cannonballs. Can't wait to smash my cursed gold, says Axel. I as well. That'll be a fun big smash, fun way to end the event. How about Halloween maps, asks Jonathan in the chat. When the Halloween mice become unavailable, you will be able to claim consolation prizes for the Halloween maps. So you'll no longer be able to encounter the Halloween mice, so you won't be able to finish a map if you have Halloween mice on it. But you'll be able to claim a portion of gold, ancient charms, and points. If I recall correctly, that is the consolation prize for the Halloween maps. And that will activate as soon as the event ends. I don't think, are there non-event mice? Yeah, there are non-event mice on the Halloween maps. So you can go and still capture those while the Halloween event ends if you're on a map. It's just the actual event mice you won't be able to capture, so there'll be no way to complete it if you have those. But you can claim the consolation prize. Peter asks, can you make ghastly Galleon Gouda attract shelders like regular Galleon Gouda? No, it's just too spooky for the shelder mouse. And perhaps a more direct answer is it's far too abundant, whereas regular Galleon Gouda is rather tricky to obtain, and that's why it has a small attraction bonus to the shelter. But there's certainly lots of Galleon Gouda, so that would maybe diminish some of the rarity of the shelter if it worked that way. Will spooky shuffle tickets be usable after the end of the event, asks Riven, if I'm saying your name right. Yes, they will be. You'll be able to use them till the end of the month. So as of December 1st, you'll no longer be able to play the Spooky Shuffle. But during the month of November, even after the event, Halloween event comes to a close, you will be able to visit your inventory, click the Play Now link on the Spooky Shuffle ticket, and use up your remaining tickets. Will the Spooky Shuffle return next year? Probably. I don't see us retiring that minigame, but like anything else, a lot can change in nearly 12 months from now, so I don't believe so. It seems pretty popular. You can let me know what you think in the chat, but we seem to get good feedback from the Spooky Shuffle, so I think we would have it make a return. Suggestion from the chat to add ghastly shelters, and the ghastly galleon could attract the ghastly shelter. Maybe. Is it time for Christmas yet? Asks Axel. Well, we will get to that in Feedback Friday. A portion is about just a quick little preview of the Great Winter Hunt event. That is what we're working on. And just like you go to the mall and all the shops, and it seems like the pumpkins get put away and immediately the Christmas trees are out. So a similar vibe around here where Halloween's not even in the books and we were already brainstorming Christmas stuff. When does the Halloween event end? In case you missed it at the top of the screen, Chip Merkley asks in the chat, it is Tuesday, November 7, around 11 a.m. Toronto time. I don't even know what time zone. I think we're still Eastern Standard Time. I think Daylight Savings Time starts. Ooh, actually, Daylight Saving Time starts this weekend, I believe, for us, so it'll be a different time zone. Anyway, Tuesday, early. Sing a Christmas carol, asks Daniel. I will spare the chat from singing a Christmas carol. We'll move along. We'll I want to give hunters a little bit of a sneak peek at what we're working on, or fill you in on some of the things that we're working on here. First is a mountain update. We've completed actually an overhaul of the mountain as part of our ongoing effort to revamp some of the older areas in the game. The mountain update will overhaul the Find the Mountain, or Find the Hidden Mountain Pass adventure, adding new gameplay and 3 new mice. So if you're a high-level player, or not even that high level, if you're past journeyman / journeywoman, and you've completed the adventure to find the Hidden Mountain Pass, that adventure will still be checked off in your adventure book, but we're updating it, adding some more gameplay that involves breaking up boulders with power charms to obtain new cheese, and then do a little bit of crafting in the mountain to lure out the abominable snow mouse. So the ninja has sort of been dethroned as the big tough mouse in the mountain, and the abominable snow mouse has been given a promotion where you'll need a special cheese to attract the abominable snow mouse. So we've wrapped that up, and actually that's going to go out at the same time that the Halloween event ends. So on Tuesday, that mountain update will be available as part of the, when we update the game to remove the Halloween event, it will bring the mountain update with it. I'm wondering if my chat froze. Nope, I think I'm good. Cheddar cheese. That's very astute, Brian. There will be cheddar cheese, and there's a hyphen in there for a word play on mining ore out of the mountain. You're going to make cheddar cheese. And then I think there's one more layer as well. There's cheddar cheese, and then you're going to collect ingredients to make abominable Asiago to attract the abominable snow mouse, who will now drop the Burroughs Laboratory map piece, and that's how, as a journeywoman, you will move on to the laboratory, or the laboratory, depending on how you want to pronounce that. Just don't pronounce it lavatory, because that's an entirely different area altogether. Something else we're working on that's going to be coming out in the month of November, a little bit later, is treasure maps. Treasure map addition to MouseHunt. The cartographer at MouseHunt. I actually have a couple little images here that I meant to put up. There we go. I'll slide over to this corner. The cartographer at MouseHunt will sell 2 new scroll cases. The first will have hunters track down clues in MouseHunt in search of treasure to further your MouseHunt hunting endeavors. So the reward will be things to help you in MouseHunt, like potions and vines, things like that. The second scroll case is inspired from feedback that we've had on Feedback Friday, as well as I think originally we had this feedback for when we launched the new Relic Hunter season. Hunters were looking for a more predictable way to obtain a Slayer scroll case. And at the time we were playing around with different ideas to make that part of the Relic Hunter season update. But instead we kind of incorporated some player feedback, and we're going to bundle it with the MouseHunt treasure map. So if you have access to MouseHunt, if you're a Grand Duke, there'll be a new Lightning Slayer scroll case, which is extremely similar to a Slayer scroll case. It'll take hunters throughout the kingdom to track down 35 powerful mice, if you want to think of them as boss mice, if I can air quote that. Very similar pool of mice that can appear on the Slayer map. The rewards as well are very similar, but including the Slayer aura, you'll learn the exact same Slayer aura. So it isn't a Lightning Slayer aura, so you can't have a Slayer and a Lightning Slayer aura going. There'll still just be one Slayer aura, but this will obviously extend that Slayer aura. Instead of Super Brie, you receive Glowing Gruyere, because it's a little bit more themed to MouseHunt. In a similar vein, Fulmina always appears on this map. You get her every single time. There's also a few maybe slightly tougher mice that can't appear on the Slayer map, seeing as this is a Grand Duke difficulty map. There's a couple other trickier mice that can potentially appear. Will there be bait keeps in it, asks Atima. Yes, there will. It has very similar rewards to I want to say the elaborate Slayer map in terms of points and gold, bait keeps. Instead of Super Brie, there's Glowing Gruyere in the chest. It provides or extends the Slayer aura. 1 month Lucky Shield. No, I don't. Is there a Lucky Shield in the Slayer chest? I don't believe there is. I think you just get the aura. How costly is it going to be in terms of relics? Well, being such a valuable scroll case, it is going to cost, quote-unquote, a lot of relics, as well as some MouseHunt items as well. So we're still kind of wrapping up some playtesting, so I don't want to get into too many specifics, but it will be difficult to obtain. Similar to the regular Slayer scroll case, is a little bit of a time investment to find one of those. This will be similarly difficult to obtain, but a little bit more predictable because it's not as based on RNG. You can kind of camp out at MouseHunt to progress your way and earn a scroll case if you're really set on finding one. That's Gilded Chest, Brian points out in the chat. So I think someone else was maybe just confusing the Slayer and the Gilded Chests. A lot of treasure chests. There's a lot of treasure chests. When is the update release date? A little later in November, probably, if all goes according to plan anyway, about a week after the Halloween event comes to an end and the Mountain update comes out. So in the middle of November. But actually, we're going to kind of start playtesting this a little bit more thoroughly today. We were running through it earlier in the week, but we're going to kind of ramp up now that we feel like we have a release candidate version of it. But we don't know. As we playtest, something may come up, may change things. There may be some unforeseen consequence, and that would postpone the release. Julia's guess is 5,000 relics. That's a little high. Now, that's a little high of a guess. I'll give that hint. But again, because we're still playtesting, things may change, so I don't want to go into too many specific details until we have a pretty firm idea of the balance. Weng Yu, if I'm saying your name right, asks if there's a way to use all your Spooky Shuffle tickets at once. We've had that suggestion before. I have, I think, about 400 Spooky Shuffle tickets, and it's not too fun to play the Spooky Shuffle that many times. That said, we haven't really been able to implement anything like that. So in the meantime, you can go until you just can't play that memory game any longer. Otherwise, it is something in the back of our minds. Maybe next year we could do something. If you're just not interested, you can kind of cash out all your tickets for not quite as good of a prize as if you actually played the game. And Michelle says, not possible, you best get shuffling. Alright, finally, and I think some hunters have seen the other screenshots here. I just put them all up at once. Well, not screenshots, but items, and theme is the Great Winter Hunt 2017, and there's definitely some accurate guesses from the chat that this is a very festive-looking base of evergreen trees and a trap skin for the Droid Archmagus trap, if I recall correctly, if that's what that trap is called. We've completed our prototyping for the 2017 Great Winter Hunt event, as well as a few mice and items, getting a head start on that, as you can see. We got some items already completed. We're pretty happy with the prototype. Plan to start building the actual event next week, or actually I think we're going to start a little bit today, but Monday we sort of go heads down. We've plotted everything out and specced out all the items and everything that we need to do. So we'll be kind of ramping things up next week. The theme of this year's Great Winter Hunt is going to involve creating magical snowmen to send out to collect area-specific loot, as well as other special items that will help you at the Festive Comet to complete the adventure there. That said, very early, it's still just the beginning of November, so I think we'll probably go into a little bit more detail as things firm up. I want to give a quick little sneak peek at the Great Winter Hunt and fill hunters in that that's what we're working on at the moment. Sean says, we need a skin for the storm rot trap. If I recall correctly, let me check my chat actually, because I was just speaking with or chatting with Jacob about that. Yes, there is a skin, and actually it's complete. So the Storm Rot Ballista is going to have a festive-themed trap skin. I don't think I've seen it yet, but apparently it has been completed. Lauren painted one. Andrew asks, is there going to be a new best-in-type weapon like last year with a New Horizon? We haven't really finalized the reward structure. That said, we obviously had a lot of feedback about the New Horizon, so I don't think there would be something that worked quite the same way as that. Gene asks about the Festive Comet, a visit from outer space. Well, we don't use it every year, but the Festive Comet is a tradition where it crash lands every December in Narnia as a big giant snowball. And I think we've had some fun with stories of Calamity Carl building a toy shop exactly where it lands every year. He didn't think that one through, and surprise, surprise, his toy factory was quickly obliterated by a giant snowball from the sky. The Snowball Charm traps won't come back, asks Chong. I don't believe so. I think those ones are limited edition. I think that was the... I'm sure somebody in the chat will correct me. The Gatler, the Snowball Gatler trap or something like that. I think there were two versions. There was a cannon and like a multi-cannon. Skippo asking for more about the base. Not too much details. We were just kind of more exploring art themes, and so a very evergreen sort of Christmas tree looking base was done, but we don't actually have a firm plan for exactly how the stats or the reward structure of how you're going to earn that. The Glacier Gatler, thank you. Brian, you are the go-to in the chat for all things MouseHunt trivia. The Glacier Gatler, that sounds right. That rings a bell. Tons of unused previous charms, asks Steven. Well, they do all have stats, I believe so. So we tend to try to incorporate some of the previous year events, even if they were specifically for that year, where they'll still have a little bit of a use where you could convert them up into the new items, similar to candy corn and gorgonzola cheese in the Halloween event. You could hunt with it to help you collect Ghastly Galleon. On that note, I have a few mailbag questions as well, and keep the questions coming in the chat. But Michelle forwarded me a few questions that go through as well, and one about Ghastly Galleon Gouda. And what will it do after the event? It will work just like regular cheese, however its attraction rate will be similar to marble. Now that brings up a feedback question, because on a related note, gorgonzola and candy corn cheese, because they're retired, they have an attraction rate that is slightly better than Gouda. So it's not as good as Super Brie, but it's better than Gouda. Is this something you'd like to see for all event cheese outside of events? So if you have too much Arctic Asiago or too much of another event-specific cheese, would you like to see it basically turn into something that's a little better than Gouda, so you could just use it whenever you're hunting with regular cheese? I think Steven says yes. Julia says yes. Yes, yes. Fairly unanimous. Haven't seen a no yet. Small sample size, but yep, there. Nigel had to say no. All right, we have one no. Yes, please, from Rafflecopters 265. Yes, and Ghastly Galleon Gouda, actually most event cheese gets an attraction rate similar to Marble at the moment, except for some that have been retired or some other special ones, but that might be worth something kind of consolidating and making that a more consistent behavior where the event cheeses, when the event ends, kind of turn into slightly better than Gouda. I wouldn't use it, I'd hoard it instead, says Andrew, but at least it introduces an interesting choice where I think some hunters would choose to use it in their everyday hunting endeavors and have something that's a little bit better than Gouda. But then other hunters might go, no, I just like to hoard it in case it's useful next year, that sort of thing. Bryce says, if it is officially retired, that would be nice. And that is not entirely consistent, but sort of what we do at the moment. Candy Corn and Gorgonzola, for all intents and purposes, have been retired. That said, it's not limited edition. I could see us maybe bringing it back someday if we had a really creative idea and wanted to use those items. But no plans to do so anyway. Gabrielle says something similar. If retired, yes. If it will come back, then no. Maybe that stems from not feeling like you should be using it, having a more definite answer of like, am I finished with this cheese? Am I going to need it for anything else? And if not, then you'll feel more comfortable kind of using it up. Whether you're in the fungal cavern when you normally use Gouda, now you could use the event cheese. But I think I can maybe see the feedback being there's a little bit of anxiety between knowing whether you should do it or not. So if I can read between the lines of that statement, that was the impression that I got. Ryan suggests a very strong Halloween base next year, something to keep in mind, but it's tricky because obviously the bases are a little bit more linear than traps because they don't have power types, and so it's difficult to work in extremely powerful bases because we're at the point where some of the more powerful bases in the game take quite a long time to earn, in fact longer than it takes to complete an event, and so it would sort of, in terms of balancing the time you invest to earn something, it wouldn't really balance out to make such a powerful event reward, something with Halloween where we aim for you to be able to complete it relatively quickly. So it's a kind of a difficult reward to add to a short event like Halloween. Will Ghastly Galleon Gouda be retired? It's too early to say. A lot can change in 12 months. I mean, it's a good feedback question whether you'd like to see the Ghost Ship event return next year. Sort of when an event comes to an end, we do a little post-event summary. We kind of gather feedback and look at how hunters tackled the area, how quickly they did it, and that sort of thing, how many hunts they were taking. Chong asks about low attraction rate mice in the Great Winter Hunt. Well, there are certainly a lot of Great Winter Hunt mice. As far as maps go, how we're going to approach that to avoid there being too many rare mice is we're going to have a lot of the older mice from years past are going to be part of this encounter pool that you hunt to collect the event cheese, and those mice will not appear on maps, and the ones that are attracted to event cheese will be a little bit more focused, like there won't be as many of them in the encounter pool, and those will be the map mice, and so that'll help us avoid having too many rare mice. So a lot of going back to my previous question, saw a lot of positive response to repeating the Ghost Ship event. That was the impression that I got kind of reading the forums, Facebook page, that sort of thing as well. Sally says, didn't care for the Ghost Ships. Feel free to elaborate as well. Kind of let us know what did you like about it, what didn't you like. Rakin says, Ghost Ships are nice with two big smiley emoticons. Or emoji. So it seems like more people enjoyed the Ghost Ship than didn't enjoy it. That was the impression I got as well, kind of reading through other mediums other than the chat, that being the forums and the Facebook page. Or me lurking through some different MouseHunt Facebook groups. And the next mailbag question, forgot to keep going here, is about hunter title icons. So I think a lot of players saw Jacob drawing new hunter title icons, kind of updating them. We needed higher res versions because we wanted to use them for different sort of materials, and they were all like these tiny little 20 by 20 icons, and they weren't painted at high res. So we redid them all, and those will be coming this month as part of the Masu Picchu treasure map update. So as long as nothing holds back that update, that's where we've put in all the new artwork and assets. So when that update goes out, you'll be able to see the new hunter title icons. Another mailbag question was about Undead Emmental, perhaps just thinking about all things zombie and spooky. Any plans to make any updates to it, which there are not. It'll just remain an event cheese that you can obtain during a zombie invasion event. That said, I don't know what the future may hold, but that's worked reasonably well as a cheese that you can just obtain when we run that mini event, which we've done a few times. And finally, any plans to update how friends work, which was kind of a big question. It's something we're looking into, but there's no timeline yet. So we've already, we know we want to sort of overhaul the way the friend system works, so decouple it from Facebook, but there's a lot of kind of 7-year-old code, a lot of technical challenges associated with doing that. So it's a very slow but steady process. We did make a big breakthrough, and actually it's live in the game now, of just actually not asking Facebook for your friends list anymore. So from a technical perspective, that's going to help us in the future allow a friend system that doesn't rely on Facebook. Yeah, Brian says they maybe receive too many Spooky Shuffle tickets. It is an interesting balance where you need enough to play, but if you get too many, you don't really want to play it that much. And I think right at the end there were some balance issues with how many tickets you were getting, and then kind of maybe time constraints didn't give us enough time to really polish that and keep play testing and reduce the number of tickets a little bit. So I think a couple different versions ended up going out where Captain Cannibal dropped the tickets and you got tickets for shooting down the ship, but I think we would have preferred just one or the other. Would there be a possibility for CNY? What is that? Oh, Chinese New Year and ghost ships? Probably not. Doesn't sound too spooky time of year as Halloween. And then on the other side, Hannah in the chat says, give me all your tickets. I'll play the Spooky Shuffle. Yeah, and Shay has a piece of advice to slowly use them up throughout the event. But yeah, it's a lot of clicking. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to do that much clicking, maybe just play it a little bit, get a few rewards, and feel comfortable. I think I did that last year. I think I left maybe 150 tickets in my inventory last year. I was like, well, I'm good. I got enough from the Spooky Shuffle until next year. A lot of hunters in the chat wondering why you would complain about getting too many tickets. All right then, never mind. Endless enthusiasm to play the Spooky Shuffle. But even at the top of the stream, a different player suggested in the chat a way to just kind of cash out a few hundred tickets all at once for not quite as good rewards. Which it comes up often enough that there's something there. There's something to be said about having too many Spooky Shuffle tickets feeling more tedious than fun. My whole journal is going to be orange, says Nigel. Will Carl be okay to run his cruise again, asks Jaren. Probably not. No, he did not run his cruise last year for Lunar New Year. And his ship sank. And then he came back in a very, very convincing zombie costume. So I don't know what happened there. He hasn't said much. Hasn't really been saying too much other than brains for some reason. I don't know what happened there after his ship sank. And so I don't think they'll be running a more hospitable cruise. He came with ghost ships. Odd. Why does doing the Spooky Shuffle clear your journal page? I believe because it writes a lot of journal entries. Every time you make a match, you get a journal entry saying what you won. And so if somebody goes and looks at your profile, I don't think those are public journal entries. So your journal ends up looking blank because your profile doesn't have any entries to read, because you sort of fill your journal and they start getting deleted when your journal gets full. Robert asks, is he sick? Probably about Carl. I don't know. We're still figuring it out. It's a very impressive zombie costume he has on, though. I don't know if anyone noticed the spot where Calamity Carl's cruise used to be. There's some eerie glowing stuff happening on the map, so I don't know what's going on there either. All right, on that note, at the 40-minute mark, we will end with trivia, and Larry will have rewards. And today's trivia question. Let me move the Archmagus. There's too much festiveness on the screen. Is how many health points did the ancient apparition ghost ship have? Or I guess Halloween is still going on, so how many health points does the ancient apparition ghost ship have? It's not a trick question when it's full health. $42 is much too low. Oh dear, it seems like the YouTube auto-moderation does not like people just putting random big numbers into the chat. Oh no, I can't even keep up now. This is a bad question. All right, I think Legend Demon Slayer has the question right. Or maybe Jaren had it right first there. My chat is just flying with like moderation things saying, hey, do you actually want people to have this giant numbers on the screen? All right, good to know. Don't ask trivia questions that are like 7-figure numbers. I better fill the chat in and say that was the correct answer. All right, there's a reward link in the chat. Maybe I'll put that down below me as well. I can figure out how to do that. Where's that? There we go. So there is a reward link, and I believe, if I recall, it's something spooky. Thanks for the party bot, Larry. Oh, it better not be a party bot. 200 temporal plates. That must be Larry. He has a lot of them. Yes, Haunted Ultimate Luck Charms. Thank you for not pranking me with the wrong. Thinking Larry's handing out something not appropriate to hand out, maybe. All right, on that note, we will end. Thank you for joining me, Mouse Hunters. Well, I think Jacob will see you next week. Probably be drawing something festive, because I think that is going to be the focus of artwork for the next few weeks, is drawing a whole lot of Great Winter Hunt stuff. So I hope you've been enjoying the Halloween event. Remember, it comes to a close next Tuesday. That is November 7. You'll be able to claim rewards from any partially completed ghost ships you have, but that said, you will not get the spooky aura, so you still want to make sure to use up your cannonballs as much as you can during Halloween. Empty the tank, fire them all off into the air, and extend that aura. See if you can reach the max. I didn't even come close to reaching the max, but I know some hunters did. We'll see how much aura I can get built up for November. So thanks again for joining me, hunters, and Jacob will see you next week.